An excerpt from Dr. Simon Sherwood's article in the 1127 Peterborough Chronicles. Let no one be surprised at the truth of what we are about to relate, for it was common knowledge throughout the whole country that immediately after Abbot Henry Petot's arrival at Peterborough Abbey, it was the Sunday where they sing Zurge choir. Many men both saw and heard a great number of huntsmen hunting. The huntsmen were black, huge, and hideous. They rode on black horses and on black he-goats, and the hounds were jet black with eyes like saucers and horrible. This was seen in the very deer park of the town of Peterborough, and in the woods that stretched from the same town to Stamford. And in the night the monks heard them sounding and winding their horns. Reliable witnesses who kept watch in the night declared that there might have been as many as 20 or 30 of them winding their horns as near as they could tell. This was seen and heard from the time of his arrival, all through Lent and right up to Easter. This is the first known account of the Shadow Mastiff. Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Dungeons & Dragons and the lore that surrounds them.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Encounter This. I, of course, am your wonderful co-host, Freeman the Snarly Ow Easton.
Snarly Ow.
And, of course, today, and as always, I am joined by James the Terrible Wonder Kid. And he will be taking us through the legendary Shadow Mastiff from Volo's Guide to Monsters on page 190. Is this the second time that we have done something that's not in the monster manual specifically?
No, I think we've done it plenty more than that at this point.
But I mean, like a standalone, like one episode on a character or a creature that's not in the monster manual. Is it more than one? Yeah.
This one's Volo's, but we may have done something on Mordenkainen's. I don't know. Write in and tell us, I guess. But that is correct. I am. I'm going to take you through our second to last episode in my Black Dog suite. So for those of you who don't know, I've done a series of episodes based on the dogs in D&D. So we've done the Hellhounds, we've done the Yethhound, and now we're going to do the Shadow Mastiff, and the last one will be the Barghest. So that's pretty exciting. The Barghest is going to be a while off because I think we're going to include that in the Goblin suite.
Yeah, Barghests are cool.
As always, this dog is it's black. Hence
shadowy.
Yeah, it is ethereal looking. It's got a very smooth coat to help it blend into the darkness. It's got an alien-like jawline with bones and a serious underbite. It's really crazy.
Oh, I love the wispiness.
It is, yeah. It's drawn really ethereally, and I really appreciate that about it. So this guy stands just a little bit over 0.6 meters or 2 feet tall. So it's not a particularly big dog when we're talking about black dog specifically. The Yethhound is massive, but it weighs in at about 90 kilos or 200 pounds, which is about 1.25 kegs of beer.
That's a great one.
Or one Rocky Mountain.
Ah, classic comparison. Oh, look how fluffy he is.
Yeah, so I got a nice little fluffy goat boy over there for us.
So that's about the size and weight of a Shadow Mastiff.
That's about the size and the weight of a Shadow Mastiff. Yeah. This one unfortunately has a lot more wispiness. So based on their wispiness, you could probably imagine that they're denizens of the Shadowfell, which is fantastic. Which is one of the underplanes in D&D. So there's the material world, there's the ethereal plane, which is kind of like a border between the shadow plane, the material plane, and the I guess it is the astral plane, isn't it?
I guess so. I get real lost on the cosmology these days because of bouncing back and forth between Starfinder and Pathfinder and 5e now. So I get lost a lot.
Yeah, I can see that being a real
The one thing I know is material planes where it's at. It's really easy, you know.
Yeah, that's the good one. I have it in here somewhere, but I'm not gonna go looking for it. But these bad boys, they're pack hunters. So they hunt in like packs of 5 to 12, but you can encounter them lone every now and again, which we'll touch on in a little bit. Sometimes they will enter a rift to allow them to enter the material plane, and more of them will follow, specifically that alpha, which each pack is led by, which can be male or female, which is, I want to say progressive of wizards, but let's be real here.
It'd be a really odd choice to be progressive on when they have so many other glaring issues, you know?
The alpha is thought to be the toughest in the pack. There's no actual evidence for this. Pups need to be kept in darkness because the sunlight can kill them, which I thought was that's a really good bit of lore from back in 2E.
Oh, yeah. From 2E, okay. Man, 2E's got some real rich stuff. It's really good. All they did was just write lore, and just like, that was it. You know, I mean, I've not really looked at the rules for AD&D, to be honest. I just haven't. But I assume they're simple, and the lore is just stupid rich.
I hope so, because there's so many good supplement books, and a lot of this stuff comes out of a book called Cormier Tearing the Weave, which isn't actually a supplement book. It's an adventure book that they wrote where most of the Shadow Mastiff lore comes from, which is fantastic that they can pack all that shit in with a proper adventure.
Wicked. Pups die in sunlight. It's brutal.
These alphas, they have a really neat ability where they can let loose a howl to signal the rest of the pack to move in for a kill, which is pretty similar to a wolf. So we're actually just pulling from real world stuff. But they have same ability that denizens of the Shadowfell usually have, where anytime they're in less than bright light, so any gloomy or dark areas, they have protection against regular weapons. And this is written directly into the war, so we'll see that reflected mechanically later, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. It probably is in resistance to non-magical weapons, but it's cool that it's written right into the lore, and it's because of that wispiness, that etherealness from Shadowplane. One or a single one of these Shadow Mastiffs can be summoned by any of the Face of Darkness. So, like a Cleric of Shar is a classic example, which is what is actually used in the Tearing of the Weave. You're facing off a bunch of these evil clerics, and Shar is one of the evil deities in 5e. So these summoned Shadow Mastiffs are usually used as sentinels or hunters to protect the clerics of the Dark Faith clerics, and they're valuable because they can actually see creatures on the ethereal plane. So there's a little bit of duality there, which is fantastic. So anything that exists between the realm of the material plane and the shadow plane, or we're going to say the astral plane for this episode, because I don't have a better. I'm too lazy to pull a better one up. So anybody who exists in the ethereal plane in between those layers is visible to the Shadow Mastiff, which is just choice for a guardian.
Gotcha. Well, yeah.
However, because they're denizens of the shadow plane, they usually shun direct sunlight. So they're good with anything less than bright light, but any kind of darkness, so dim light or proper darkness, allows them to actually blend into the shadows and create that wispy etherealness effect.
Yeah.
The creation myth behind these guys is that they were believed to have been born from mastiffs that had been killed in the shadow plane, and then their souls were claimed by undead shadows. I don't specifically know what that means, but it sounds metal as hell.
An undead shadow sounds extremely metal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's something the gang and the Mystery Machine would not be able to handle, I think.
No. They'll leave this one for sure. The gang is actually called Mystery Inc.
Is it really?
Yep. Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Fun facts by Freeman via James. You're welcome.
Scooby-Doo is my shit. Yeah, Scooby-Doo and I go way back. And I don't know how to segue into this, but they can be sold on the black market for 200 to 500 gold pieces. So you can actually just buy a Shadow Mastiff, I guess like breeding a dog.
Whoa.
This is from the Monstrous Compendium back in 2E as well, so...
What kind of market do you figure sells one of these?
I mean, I want to go for the low-hanging fruit and say black market, but... Oh
my god. You're killing me. Yeah, I suppose.
I legitimately don't have a better answer for you.
I sort of imagine. I've had always stuck in my head since we did Azers. What exactly is found at that bazaar in the city of Brass? You know, all sorts sort of end up there, right? I mean, yeah, it's the plane of fire and stuff, but you know, it's supposed to be a very metropolitan and busy melting pot of a city, the city of Brass. And I imagine like some real, like the city of Brass black market is, you know, where I imagine getting a hold of, like, you know, where there would be plenty of them.
Right.
Maybe a material plane black market, you can get one, maybe two, you know, when it's real sketchy. But the city of Brass just has this sort of majesty to it to me.
I do love that. I think that's fantastic. I like this idea where there's like this general planar black market where, you know, if you want some illegal shit, you just head to the plane of fire to the city of Brass.
Yeah. But that's cool. I did not expect that. Them being sold. I almost feel like it's a sort of fact that could go with a lot of the creatures we've covered so far. You know, these sort of bestial, low intelligence creatures that, you know, have very specific modes of operation. Why not? Why not capture them and sell them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even the Lucrata was like supposed to be more cunning than the average creature of its kind-ish, and then the other gnolls. But even then, its intelligence score was quite low. You know, considering
for sure. So. Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense when they have abilities like they can blend into shadows, they can see in the ethereal plane. Like, this makes a good guardian. This is a good doggo. Like, I want this on my team.
Yeah, hell yeah. Do you think they? I guess we're going to get into the cultural lore here real quick.
Yeah, we are. As I do that, I'm going to put up the art for One-E here, so they're like a proper literally shadow, which is
just a shadow puppet on the white canvas. Yeah,
a real good. I love that one.
Yeah, that's really cool.
This is the 2E art, which I think is my favorite. This is probably this is going to make it to the Instagram at some point. The 4E art, kind of like, I don't know how many of you out there read X-Men, but there was a redesign of Beast in like the early 2000s where it kind of became a cat, and that's what the 4E art reminds me.
Okay, all right. Very early on, or fairly early on, I should say, in us doing this podcast, I said that I don't really like the 4E art at all. It's turned into like a 50-50, I don't know what to expect at this point. Because sometimes it fucking nails it. And I was like, foot and mouth. But it is genuinely 50-50 at this point. I think that looks like absolute trash.
Yeah, it's real muscly and
so
like
loser.
Weird. Yeah. It really, like, the shoulders alone don't really look like it should be bipedal. Or quadrupedal, sorry.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It looks like a weird bodybuilder that's just hunched over. Its teeth don't make a lot of sense.
Well, it's like even its teeth in the 5E art don't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, go back to that one. Oh, but like, you're not wrong. They don't make a lot of sense, but they like fit this otherworldly creature at the same time. You know?
Yeah, it's got like this wicked underbite where they all.
Yeah. It's like, you know, it's when someone has, issues with their teeth and gums, you know, I was looking at this the other day and I can't remember what it's called, but, you know, you have teeth that like, you know, grow, outside of the normal ridge and
right.
And it looks like that. It's like, you have a tooth that's like just really expanding out and pointing up and getting real pointy in a place it's not really supposed to be. That's, you know, it's almost looks painful to have.
Yeah,
it's very wild. Inconvenient.
Its jaw just looks like it opens weird. It kind of reminds me of like the redesign of Darkseid from DC, but also like the new art for Atrocitus from the Red Lanterns. He's got like this weird, sharp, pointy underbite. Sorry, not Darkseid. The one who killed Superman. Spoilers. Doomsday. Holy shit.
Oh, I mean, fuck. I feel like I should have definitely known that, actually.
Well, anyway, I guess we should talk about the culture behind these bad boys.
Okay.
There's a lot of information about black dogs. So as with every suite, I narrow it down a little bit. And today we're going to start with the Black Shuck, also known as the Old Shuck, the Old Shock, or just the Shuck.
Okay.
So the word shuck is derived from Old English skuka, I think is how that's pronounced.
Yeah.
means devil fiend, or ska, which is a root word actually means to terrify, and that's skuh in English. So this is also a ghostly black dog, and it is said to roam the coast of East Anglia, which is the eastern bit of England. Most of this lore is going to come from Norfolk, Suffolk, Cambridgeshire, Fens. Specifically, their Fens. I don't know why. If you're from the UK, hit me up why. I'd love to know why. And Essex. And it's almost always considered an omen of death. There's a couple of ones in here that we'll touch on that are not, but you never really know. We're going to break it out with a quote from Reverend E.S. Taylor from 1850's Notes and Queries, which I had to look up, and it is apparently a scholarly journal that's been going on, published quarterly since 1849.
Oh, wow.
So this shit is old as fuck.
That's pretty cool.
This phantom, I have heard many persons in Norfolk and even Cambridgeshire describe as having seen a black, shaggy dog with fiery eyes, immense size, and who visits churchyards at midnight.
So a stray dog.
So stray dog with glowing red eyes.
Just looking for handouts at the local church.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the lore only gets weirder from there, but this is the first written evidence of the black shuck, I guess is the best way to put it.
Account?
Yeah, account. Yeah, thank you. So the next one is from W.A. Dutt, 1901. A book called Highways and Byways in East Anglia. This we will actually have linked in the show notes, so check those out if you really want to read this book, which I don't know if you do.
This one might not be the more interesting read, you're saying?
No, I don't think so.
You say go back and reread Jorge Luis Borgia? Just treat yourself?
Based on the title alone, I picture like a verbal like maps, but described with words. Like I think that's what this book is.
Okay.
Turn left at ye old big rock to get to Essex. Is kind of
so like excerpts from anything written by Tolkien, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Or like the OG MapQuest. Do you remember MapQuest?
MapQuest. It rings a bell.
All right.
What does W.A. Dutt have to say?
He takes the form of a huge black dog and prowls along dark lanes and lonesome field footpaths, where, although his howling makes the hearer's blood run cold, his footfalls make no sound. You may know him at once, should you see him. By his fiery eye, he has but one, and that, like the Cyclops, is in the middle of his head. But such an encounter might bring you the worst of luck. It is even said that to meet him is to be warned that your death will occur before the end of the year. So you will do well to shut your eyes if you hear him howling. Shut them even if you are uncertain whether it is the dog fiend or the voice of the wind you hear. Should you never set eyes on our Norfolk Snarl-yow, you may perhaps doubt his existence. And like other learned folks, tell us his story is nothing but the old Scandinavian myth of the Black Hound of Odin, brought to us by the Vikings who long ago settled down on the Norfolk coast.
Somehow extremely mundane and boring yet interesting at the same time.
I love it. I just love that he calls it a snarl-yow. It made me laugh so hard the first time I read it.
Snarl-yow. I like it. That's good. I did not expect the one eye in its forehead. That's all fiery.
So, here's where things get a little more interesting, I would say. So, from 1577 on August 4th, a black shuck burst through the doors of the Holy Trinity Church in Blytheborough to the sound of thunderclapping. The dog ran past the congregations and killed a man and a boy and caused the church steeple to collapse through the roof as the dog scorch marks on the north door, which apparently still exist to this day.
All right.
On the same day, August 4th, 1577, a man named Abraham Fleming claims to have witnessed a similar event in St. Mary's Church, Bungay, which he published in A Strange and Terrible Wonder. The problem with this particular account is that Fleming was actually a translator, and it is thought to have made it up based on oral accounts. So, the theory behind this is that a fierce electrical storm was probably responsible for this event.
Gotcha. Interesting. A fierce electrical storm.
Yeah.
I'm already getting a vibe that might end up in honorable mentions. Maybe not. I haven't looked ahead. Okay. So I'll keep it logged.
Okay.
When we get there.
All right. And this story has been turned into a graphic novel by Mark Allard Will called The Burning Black. And this was just released last year, to which we'll also have a link where you can buy it down in the show notes.
All right, cool.
Our last fact about the Black Shuck is in May 2014, a large dog was excavated from Lenston Abbey in Suffolk, but it was actually probably just a Mastiff from 1650 to 1690. So I thought that they made a really big deal of it. We'll have links to some of those articles in the show notes as well.
Cool.
And we're back with the rest of the black dogs that we're going to talk about today. There's a few more on the list, and the first one I can tell you 100% that I will not pronounce correctly. Willigi.
Willigi?
We're
just gonna ignore the G at the front.
I think I pronounced the G just fine there. Play back the tape. So this is Welsh. So
of course it is.
Forgive me.
Color me surprised.
Yeah. So the Quilgi is the black hound of destiny. It is also an omen of death, and it is a ghostly direwolf with burning red eyes. I don't know why I felt the need to try and pronounce it again. We're just going to breeze past that. It's the black dog of Tring. This has a little bit more lore to it, but again, I really focused on the Black Shuck for this episode. A man called Thomas Cawley hanged himself in 1751. After he drowned Ruth Osborne, whom he accused of being a witch. Sorry, he was hanged. That was his penance for drowning this woman.
He didn't hang himself. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he was hanged. There should be another word in my notes. Bad notes. His spirit now haunts Tring, which is a district in Hertfordshire. Mm-hmm. As a big black dog with long fangs and burning red eyes, which is said to vanish in the shadows.
Okay.
So a little bit of a theme here. Mm-hmm. The next one is the Church Grim. I love this name. I think it's fantastic.
Church Grim, yeah.
Yeah, this one, however, is one of the good dogs. So it protects churchyards from thieves, vandals, warlocks, witches, and the devil himself. The problem with this one is because of this lore, it was once custom to bury a dog alive under the cornerstone of a church so that its spirit could serve as the church's protector.
That is awful.
It is awful.
That's like drowning bats in milk.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Fortunately for us, there's only 2 references to this. One we'll have linked in the show notes, notes on the folklore of northern counties of England and the borders, and the other one is like the Encyclopedia of Fairies. I can't remember, but we'll have them both linked in the show notes, and this is the only one that sounded legitimately credible. So
I want to read the Encyclopedia of Fairies for sure.
Yeah. Well, we've got a copy. It's
wicked.
It'll be ready for you. It's out of the copyright date, so we're good there. But again, black ethereal dog protection. This is good doggo. You just had to kill a good doggo to get there, which is probably what they found in 2014 is one of these sacrificial church grims.
Right. Yeah.
The next one is the Freibug. There are like 3 or 4 different spellings of this. They're from Norfolk lore. In 1555 specifically was the first time they were mentioned in print, and it is the size of a calf, and the name means object of fear or specter. It comes from Freibug, eventually getting bastardized to Freibug. Also probably not pronouncing that one right, but deal with it.
It's fine.
The next one, and probably the most well-known Black Shuck or Church Grim, is the Gytrash. So this was originally spelled Guy, G-I-Y, Trash. It's now G-Y, Trash. Also known as the Shagfoal, which this creature can sometimes take the shape of a horse, crane, dog, or mule, which is where the foal comes from. Or the horse would be the foal, I think. Baby horse is a foal?
Yes, yeah. Shaggy like a dog, foaly like a horse.
Right.
I'm a wordsmith. What can I say?
So this one's from Northern England, Lincolnshire, and Yorkshire. This one in particular, the Gytrash, gets a shout out in Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte and is probably the most influential representation of the black shuck in culture.
Okay.
The last one is the Muckle Black Tyke, which is so obviously Scottish.
Yeah.
This one presides over witches' sabbaths and said to be the devil himself. So, whereas one protects from the devil, this one actually is the devil. However, sometimes it's also a treasure guardian, apparently, sometimes, I guess. There is a lore from the village of Mirthley where there's a standing stone. So there's this obelisk in Mirthley where the rumor is that a person who is brave enough to move the stone will find a chest guarded by a Muckle Black Tyke, so a big black fucking dog.
All right.
So that's about it for cultural lore. The differences between this and the 5e lore are pretty widespread because it is such a prevalent myth, specifically in English culture between 1412 and today, I guess 2014 when this last article was written.
Yeah.
So there's a lot happening there.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like the cultural lore has just got a lot of vagueness and a lot of like widespread ideas behind it, and then the 5e lore is just very simplified.
Yeah,
it's not much. It's almost so simplified and then so misconstrued. By comparison, there's not much to compare. Other than that, they're a big black dog.
Big black dog. The burning red eyes is the devil itself being part of it. Like coming from an underplane is pretty linear.
Yeah,
but because it's such a widespread myth with such deep and well documented lore above anything, like this is just vague touches. Like you can go down a Church Grim rabbit hole all by itself. You can go down a Black Dog of Tring rabbit hole all by themselves. There's more lore for all these guys out there. I just thought the Black Shuck was the most appropriate for this particular creature.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I've no doubt we'll, especially when it comes to stuff that's very English. Geographical English like lore, it's just going to be a lot of that. We've encountered a lot of it already where it's a lot of tiny examples that kind of fit the mold but don't all perfectly fit it.
Yeah,
I feel like we're gonna come across that a lot when we hit creatures like this.
Yeah, each region kind of makes it its own.
Yeah,
D&D seemed to have been able to make 5 creatures out of it, which is pretty fantastic. There's three creatures, realistically. The Hellhound, the Shadow Mastiff, and the Yethhound. The Barghest will be included in my Black Dog series, but it's a totally different creature in 5e lore. It's actually like very hardcore related to goblins, which is why it's going to be a while before we finish this series.
Sure, yeah. Totally.
But I guess that brings us to the ad break.
What's that you say? You want to crack a blackmail Northwest Stout?
Talking about black dogs, we might as well have some blackmail.
Well, this is oddly appropriate because I have good news for you.
Is it coming back as a milk stout?
It still is a milk stout.
Okay, they just couldn't afford the milk word on the can? Just took it off the can?
I didn't get into details, but I messaged the head rep, Nick Black.
Okay.
And I just said, "Whoa there! I heard on the grapevine through a little birdie that it's no longer a milk stout. And can you confirm this ludicrous rumor?" Which is that's almost verbatim, to be honest. I sent him a silly message.
I've seen your emails. I believe you.
And he said that there's still lactose put in it. It's still technically a milk stout, but they just stopped branding it as such. And my guess for that, I didn't ask him why. I just wanted the confirmation. And but my guess is I would talk about this a lot because I'm a bartender and would, been serving beer for a long time and of course drinking a lot of it. And I'm currently in a place that does a lot of craft beer, local craft in Vancouver. And the thing is that a lot of beers are misnamed for the sake of how they sell. Like hazy beers, hazy pale ale, hazy IPA. That's not the beer style. The beer style is an East Coast IPA or an East Coast pale ale. A West Coast IPA is not even a West Coast IPA. It's an American IPA by its designation. So it's basic. That's my educated guess is that milk stout doesn't sell. Northwest stout feels like home, so it sells.
Yeah, and it's still delicious. It's still my beer of choice, and I guess the show's beer of choice by default at this point, unless somebody else out there wants to take that sponsorship spot.
All right, we suddenly become an ad show? Hold on, what's the caveat here? We need free booze for it to work.
That's always been the caveat. The only reason we shout out blackmail so often is because I was hammered on it when I came up with the show idea.
We both were. Oh yeah. And then we went and drank some, I think.
Yeah. We went and drank someone when I pitched it to you. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, that's my good news for the blackmail on the old ad break. Let's continue on.
Okay. Love it. CR2. HP 33, AC 12. You guys know the drill by now. We're going to dive into the mechanics. They are a medium monstrosity, neutral evil. I do not like that neutral evil definition because it's just a doggo.
You think it should be unaligned?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think, it's not specifically from hell. It's a Mastiff soul that was claimed on the Shadow Plane, depending on what lore you read. So I don't think it should just naturally be assumed it's neutral evil, but it makes sense for the narrative, which it's your narrative. You choose the alignment.
Yeah, there was nothing in the lore to indicate that they were, say, like the Ludicrata, who like love to hunt and trap and then like torture.
Nope.
That's evil. These guys just are dogs with extra shadow powers. That's it, eh? Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Don't love that. As dogs, one would guess they don't speak any languages.
Yep.
They do have damage resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, non-magical while they're in dim light or darkness. So we see that lore being reflected very, very well here. They have dark vision 60 feet. They got a couple of cool abilities and a couple of... So they have ethereal awareness, so they can see ethereal creatures and objects, which is...
As you mentioned, yeah.
Again, great part of the lore. They have keen hearing and smell, which is pretty boring and old coat at this point. It's advantage on perception checks with sight or smell. They have shadow blend. So while they're in dim or darkness, they can use a bonus action to become invisible and last until it attacks. The effect ends or it enters bright light or becomes incapacitated. So this I thought was great.
Whoa, that seems like more than a CR2 thing to have.
Yeah.
Once per turn, they can just disappear.
Yep, just straight up as a bonus action.
Like attack, disappear, move.
Yep.
Like what the fuck? You better start throwing fire, casting light. Jesus.
Yeah, for sure.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. Okay.
It is balanced out by the next ability, which is sunlight weakness. So they have disadvantage on attacks, saves, ability checks, and bright light. However, in this stat block, it is specifically listed as created by sunlight. So I'm not sure if this particular is an anomaly or if this is how it's written in other stat blocks. And I guess we'll confirm when we hit things like drow or otherwise.
Right.
So you can't just create bright light and give them this sunlight weakness. You have to create sunlight.
Right. So that's called sunlight weakness specifically, right? Because I think the other ones are often called sunlight sensitivity, which is probably why it's different.
Yeah. You know what? You might be right there. It's also disadvantage across board, which I don't think is the case for sunlight sensitivity. I think that's just for attacks and saves. This also includes ability checks, so cancels out that advantage on keen.
So these guys are in direct actual sunlight. That affects them. So if you're producing a bright light, you're not exploiting their weakness. You're simply negating their shadow blend.
Yeah, exactly. So they only become weak if you, I guess, have a ball of sunlight. Like you could throw a drift globe up or whatever and get, remove that shadow blend, but you would not give them this disadvantage.
Right. Okay.
As a CR2 creature, they only have one attack. It's a bite, +5 to hit, 5-foot range, 2d6 +3 piercing. And then, like every other dog we've touched on, it is a DC 13 strength save, or they fall prone. Which is great. Bites your leg and pulls you down. It's standard dog tactics. That's fantastic.
Totally.
The thing I'm nonplussed about is the alpha stats. They actually have a secondary alternate stat block within their page from Vol's Guide to Monsters.
Oh, this is like a different. It's an alpha.
Yeah. So if you want to make a pack of these Shadow Mastiffs, you have the option. So the changes they make specifically is the HP ups to 42 to 45. So
okay, from 33.
It increases its intelligence from 5 to 6. And then it gives this terrifying howl action, which the more I play this game, the less I like these. It is a DC 11 wisdom save if you are within 300 feet, or you are frightened for 1 minute. Repeat save at the end of turn if save immune, blah, 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 blah. The usual 5e bullshit that they tack in the end. I don't think this is worthy of a second stat block, is kind of my point. That's it. That's your pointers on making a Shadow Mastiff alpha.
Yeah. Those tiny changes, yeah.
Yeah, I get that it fits with the theme of the creature and it, like, thematically, this is probably one of the most accurate creatures we've covered because everything that's touched on in the lore is touched on in the stat. Literally everything. And it's not hard to do with something as vague as a ghost dog, but it's done really well. And I really, really like the actual Shadow Mastiff. The alpha, I think, leaves something to be desired. Like there's so much more that I think you could do there that they're just not doing.
Well, I mean, really, the only thing I have to say on this is that very recently you've encountered and I've run a Shadow Mastiff, but in Starfinder.
Right. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so I pulled them up. They have pretty much the same, at least as far as abilities go. It's very, very reminiscent. These guys are CR5. And they have a tail slap in addition to their bite attack.
That's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Are they large?
They are medium creatures.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. That one I'll give you. They do bludgeoning with the tail slap, but their bite does cold and piercing, which is a common element in Starfinder, having both those types of damage coming through.
Yeah, I like that.
They actually do understand common and shadow tongue, but can't speak. And they have trip, so when they do attack with their bite, with the Starfinder rules, they have a chance of knocking you prone, so that's there.
Same in 5e, yeah.
Yeah, they do have Shadow Blend, and like you sort of called it earlier, basically, as long as they're if they're in any illumination other than bright light, they're given concealment. This is 50% mischance.
50, wow.
50, yeah.
Okay.
And so in Starfinder Pathfinder, you have you have darkness, you have dim light, you have normal light, and then you have bright light. So you have like 4 standards, right?
Right.
So this is bright light only. Can you negate that? And definitely not normal light.
Okay.
As they call it. In the same scenario, they have like advantage, or they have a bonus to stealth checks, which stands to reason. And then on top of that, they have essentially this howl. They call it bay.
Yeah. So that was the Yeth Hound had a bay, so they had to call this something different, which is terrifying howl action.
Ooh. Ran out of synonyms, did you?
I guess so.
But in Starfighter, it's like a 300-foot spread for the bay. So huge, very big.
Same in 5e.
Yeah. You become panicked. And panicked is not something you see in 5e, but it's pretty severe frightened, essentially.
Is it not the same?
I don't think so, because panic specifically in Starfinder Pathfinder cause you to drop everything you're holding and run. So depending on where you're at, it could really get hairy, because by the time you shake that off, you're not armed anymore, and that costs you more action economy to rearm yourself.
Right. That makes sense.
But from what I recall in our encounter with that, was that I was excited, because I knew you liked Shadow Mastiffs, so excited for you to like literally just see one in the game and like show you the artwork. But the actual encounter itself was really mundane. And like when you look at the stat block, both of them kind of operate the same way. And they're built to allow you to give some tension in your descriptions and that sort of thing. But mechanically, it's extremely dull. You know, especially with Starfinder, you walk in, it's dark, you roll your attack roll, then you roll a mischance, and then you might get your damage in. And otherwise, you're spending your time running away.
Right. So
that's literally the only thing that happens the whole time. You might get tripped.
Was that the combat in the vaults?
It was in the black site.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I remember that. That was fairly recently.
For anyone playing Signal with Screams.
Well, you didn't have to say what AP it was in.
Too late.
Yeah, so I remember that combat. I remember that combat very specifically because my character has the ability to negate a lot of those status effects, and I failed that saving throw on the bay, so I had to retreat the whole time.
And it wasn't long before that we had a similar fight in which one of the other players had dropped all their weapons.
Yeah,
Scott just dropped everything and ran. It's like,
Yeah, I remember that. So my question about that, now that if you're willing to pull back the screen a little bit, is what was the challenge rating on that? Because these guys are a CR2, and I don't remember them being much more difficult. Like, we were level 10 when we faced them.
Yeah, something like that. I can find the encounter CR. I know you fought 4 of them at the same time.
Okay, is that the difference? What is their individual CR?
CR5 for them specifically.
Why? Is it the drop shit? Is that why?
What's the alpha CR in 5e?
They don't give you one.
Oh, they don't. Oh, that's weird. Okay.
I don't understand why those ones are CR5 and these ones are CR2. The alpha may be a CR3, but is it just because you drop all your weapons if you fail to save? Like, is the will save higher than this wisdom save?
You're dropping weapons. The shadow blending is not, there's definitely a big difference between turning invisible and having a mischance,
Is there?
Yeah, I think so, because, if all they're doing is turning invisible, then you're more likely to, like, ready in action. It'd be like, okay, I'm going to attack when it shows itself again. Which is totally feasible, I think, in 5e. Whereas with the mischance, you're led more into that direction of, I'm going to risk it. I'm going to take an attack. Your chances of actually striking are significantly lower at a 50% mischance, on top of the fact that you have to nail your attack roll as well.
Right.
And I just think the CR alone might, not that I think they thought of this necessarily, but the CR alone might reflect, the gut reaction of the average player, and that they're going to not ready in action. They're going to take the risk. They're going to do that first, I think.
Okay. I can see it, but again, what is the wisdom save on the bay?
It's only a DC 15.
Okay,
it's quite low. But I mean, at level 5, that's not too bad. You guys, again, like you said, you're like level 10, so that was not a huge deal. The fact that you failed it was pretty shit.
Yeah, this is DC 11, so that's 20% higher.
Yeah.
So, it is significantly higher. I mean, I guess CR5 fits, but still, like, it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
The creature I love how simple it is, how aggressive it is, and again, how cohesive it is with the D&D lore, but the actual creature, as with most of these lower level CR creatures, leaves something to be desired.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I haven't actually run a Shadow Mastiff, but if I did, I think it would be a summoned creature. Like, it would be a companion to somebody else. It wouldn't be like a pack of Shadow Mastiffs that broke into the material plane. This would be like the familiar of an evil wizard, or like a sentinel of one of the clerics of Shar, like we touched on in the Cormier lores. Like, that's so good.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I agree, I guess. I feel like I don't have much to say on this creature. I don't really have... nothing of the lore sparked any ideas for me on this round.
Yeah.
The only thing that came to mind, I guess I'll touch on my honorable mention now, is that, there was a very vague reference in there that reminded me of Darkhounds from the Wheel of Time, which I'm sure we've discussed before.
Yeah, we touched on them in the Yethhound episode, but I think we're gonna get more to those in Barghest. I think they're gonna be
okay.
So Yethhounds are large creatures. I think Barghest are also large creatures. And I think that's why I didn't go down that road, these big evil dogs, because the hounds in Wheel of Time, correct me if I'm wrong here, they're quite large. They're not just like regular ass dogs.
I did a quick look earlier, and they are like the size of a small horse, like 250, 300 pounds.
Yeah.
So good size. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those will come up more accurately in the Varghest episode.
What book are you on currently?
I just finished The Crown of Swords, which I think is book 7.
Okay. Because the one thing that reminded me of them, I'm not sure if you've come across it, because I've been putting off continuing the series for so long now. I've lost reference point when things happen, so I'm not going to really detail it. Maybe we'll get to it when Varghest comes around. But there was one particular part of the cultural lore that just made me think, and it was from one particular scene with a Darkhound that I really loved. But I won't throw it out there right now, just for the sake of spoilers.
Well, I mean, I guess if you made it this far, thank you, because I wouldn't have. As always, you can find us at our home on the web on encounterthis.ca if you want to check out some of the show notes that we talked about, where you can find those books. If you really enjoyed this and you want to see more content like this, you can help us out at patreon.com/encounterpod. $5 a month will get you a handwritten letter, as well as access to the notes where we produce these shows directly from, so you can see all the spellings of the English black dogs that I messed up. $10 a month, you can suggest a creature, like our recently finished dinosaur suite. I think that was our latest one, as well as our little impromptu November. They were all audience suggestions at that $10 and up tier. You can tweet at me at Twitter at EncounterPod if you want to tell me how to really pronounce Gwigili. If you're a Facebook user, you can find us on facebook.com/EncounterPod. If you want to get at Freeman or see some of these dope arts, we'll throw up the Starfinder art, as well as that dope fucking mountain goat, because I really love that image. The old floofy goat.
I will put that goat in a curry.
Fun fact, goats are my favorite mammals. You can find all that over at instagram.com/encounter.pod. If you liked it, please rate and review on your platform of choice. Yeah, thank you for checking it out. Thank you for being here with us, and we will see you in 2 weeks with our next episode. Do you want to give any spoilers on that, or are we just going to leave them hanging in the wind?
Oh, it's going to have some second edition references. It will be, how you say, like an old knife exposed to the salty air of the ocean. That's... I promise you, that's actually a reference.
Okay, bye.
Bye.